of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection, and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
When I'm feeling under the weather, you just make me feel sweet. Ice the cocoa tea, use the sugar, and together we are complete, darling. Heat me up. Only you alone can put fire back in the soul. Heat me up. And they're telling me I should leave that fire alone. Well, the more they tell me, the more I'm holding you close. I could never let you go. Miss how she Girl, I'm coming home, I will see you again. All day through the night, I'm dreaming. Yeah. Miss how she when you turn it up, make it smooth, my darling. When outside is pouring rain, put a pot on the fire. Bubbling, you're bubbling, you're bubbling, it's over. Raise the temperature higher. Coming in, you're coming in, you're coming in closer. Make the thing get your fire. Spill it all on the ground, all over the counter, yeah. With that pot on the fire, yeah. It's your cocoa boy. I barely could concentrate. I feel a sugar rush in my vein. One cup, it does make my day. I'm missing it when I'm gonna love for you. Heat me up. Only you alone can put fire back in the soul. Heat me up. Girl, you are that thing I could never leave you alone. No. And no matter what they could say, I hold in your close. I could never let you go. Miss how she girl, I'm coming home, I will see you again. All day through the night, I'm dreaming. Yeah. Miss how she when you turn it up, make it smooth, my darling. When outside is pouring rain, put a pot on the fire. Bubbling, you're bubbling, you're bubbling, it's over. Raise the temperature higher. Coming in, you're coming in, you're coming in closer. Make the thing get your fire. Spill it all on the ground, all over the counter, yeah. With that pot on the fire, yeah. Is your cocoa boy, when I'm feeling under the weather, you just make me feel sweet. Ice the cocoa tea, use the sugar, and together we are complete, darling. Heat me up, only you alone can put fire back in the soul. Heat me up, and they telling me I should leave that fire alone. Well, the more they tell me, the more I hold in you close. I could never let you go. Miss Ocean, Miss Ocean, girl, I'm coming home, I will see you again. All day through the night, I'm dreaming. Yeah. Miss Ocean, Miss Ocean, when you turn it up, make it smooth, my darling. When outside is pouring rain, so put a pot on the fire. Bubbling, you're bubbling, you're bubbling it over. Raise the temperature higher. Coming in closer. Make the thing get your fire. Spill it all on the ground, all over the counter, yeah. With that pot on the fire, yeah. It's your cocoa alarm.
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
Okay, everybody, good morning to you. And of course, welcome to it. Good to have you here on New Era TT Radio. Yeah, with the pride and joy of Trinidad and Tobago and, of course, the Caribbean. It's now just 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. And wherever you may be, we welcome you. I'm your story, Sir Charles, checking in. And, of course, we welcome each and every one right now to, what is the Net TT Breakfast Show?
Yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Richard, is that you? I'm not hearing you. Richard, Steve.
Good morning. Welcome to the breakfast show this morning on, what is the date today? The 14th?
14th.
The 14th of April. You know, usually I am not here, Wendell and Sir Charles. After a show, anytime I have a play, I'm like, Mondays are really difficult, and today is no different. It's really difficult, especially as we were in San Fernando at Supper with the play over the weekend, Married and Mischievous. And I mean, we had a wonderful premiere of the play, a brand new comedy in Supper over the weekend. I mean, droves of people came out in South to the play at Supper this weekend. So thank you so much for everybody who came out to the show this weekend. We had a wonderful time at this strictly adult-only show. And when you came to the show, I am sure you realize, oh my God, it really is strictly adult.
give us the first clue.
First one.
The first clue as to how we know for sure it's strictly adult.
No. Come to the play and you'll see for yourself. I'm not giving any hints at why the show is very much strictly adult.
Yeah.
But we had a wonderful time. I think people had a great time. I know people had a great time in Sapa this weekend. And of course, I don't know if anybody listening came to the show, but we had a wonderful time on stage. And of course, our next stop is Cipriani College on the 3rd and 4th of May, which is the weekend after the elections, because the elections is on Monday, the 28th of April, which is not that far off. That's exactly 2 weeks away. And then we come back with Married and Mischievous at Cipriani College. So we finally head up north. We launched in San Fernando, and then we head to north. But that was my weekend, chock full of that and doing all to get that play ready for Sapa this weekend. So I was so busy this weekend. I don't know, Sir Charles, Wendell, what you all did?
Well, I did, I cleaned my fish pond. I took out all the stones in the filter and cleaned it, and that's basically what I did. And I kind of stayed home I was in St. James for a while on Saturday. But yesterday I stayed in Arima for the entire day. I had a good friend of mine who I haven't seen for a little while bring me lunch, so I was happy, and I just chilled. I just chilled this weekend.
Okay.
I did no politicking this weekend at all, actually.
What about you, Sir Charles?
Oh, well, boy, I spend a lot of time reorganizing things in studio, moving around things, and
Oh, okay.
One thing, all the little glitches, and you move around things and trying to make everything as comfortable as possible.
But that has happened when you're a boss, When you're a boss, you have to do it yourself,
What is you talk about work?
As we're talking boss, of course, we have the boss of the Patriotic Front on this morning, Mickela Panday, will be joining us in the next hour, and we'll, talk to her about the politics, about the chances. Does she think that she can actually pull it off, etc., etc.? We're going to get into that conversation in the next hour, so don't go anywhere. In the next hour, we're speaking to Michaela Panday. I think she may bring on a candidate too, I'm not sure, but certainly Michaela Panday will be on in the next hour. Because lots to look forward to.
When you think about it, you don't really know who her candidates are. I mean, you know her, right? But you don't. You're not familiar. You're not familiar with the candidate, and she has 36 plus her.
Yeah,
she has quite a bit of candidates.
A number of candidates, yes.
Yeah. But I don't know who they are. I know that the former national football captain and coach was part of Mickela Panday's launch. You remember that? What's his name again?
Brent Sancho?
No, the tall Rasta guy. Oh Christ! Why am I not remembering his name?
Kenwin Jones?
Kenwin Jones? Is that his name?
I'm giving you names. I'm not so sure who you're talking about.
Yes, it's Kenwin, man. He was part of Patriotic Front's launch, I remember.
Okay.
But I don't know if he is still part and parcel of her campaign. I guess we'll find out in the next hour for sure.
All right. So what we'll do is we could go to our good news, and then we'll greet some customers, and then maybe we'll take some calls before we start talking the nitty-gritty.
And I have a couple birthdays too. So.
All right, but let's get to the good news. You want to do the birthdays first, or you want me to do the good news first?
Yeah, let me do the birthdays first. Sagakal Patsy, happy birthday. She's a regular listener too. I'm not sure if that's her actual name, but that's the name on Facebook. I have her Sagagal Patsy, Shaliza Belgrove, Kevin Dunnan, aka Lynx. His birthday.
Happy birthday, Lynx.
Happy birthday, Lynx. I actually listen to Lynx and them later on in the morning. Kiara Hinkson Bellone, that's my cousin who lives out there in Canada. Kevin Cadogan, Michelle Borrell was yesterday, and Zumari Tanka was yesterday too.
Yeah, Zumari was yesterday, so we had a little celebration backstage and after the show with her.
She is in the play?
Yeah, she's in the play.
Okay, all right. And today is also Pamela Phillips' birthday, who listens to us every morning, and I think she may be listening now if she hasn't gone off to work already. But Pamela, have a fantastic day. You're a good soul. And you're always giving a lot of information. So happy birthday, Pamela. All right.
All right.
So those are my birthdays. Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's get into good news. What's the good news on this Monday morning as we begin this week? Of course, school is out, so traffic is, I wouldn't say heavenly, but less
almost heavenly.
Almost heavenly. Almost, but you still get it.
Mm-hmm.
You still get it. So let's see what we can get for good news this morning in Trinidad and Tobago. So this is some good news this morning. Destra Garcia would have had a concert over the weekend. Reflections, her gospel concert. So I just want to give you a little idea of what it was about, and to get a little, I just give you some excerpts because it's so wonderful to see Destra in a different light, and it's all about celebrating Trinidad and Tobago.
watching my heart feel lonely. He watches me. He watches me. I know He watches.
Is it that Destra has given her life to the Lord? She has.
I don't know that she's now given her life to the Lord. People can
over time she's been having a lot. She been have gospel recordings, something, you know.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. She always had that side of her there.
Yes, she did it at gospel concert. I think she's still going to do soca and stuff, but I mean, we'll see, of course. But I just thought that would be nice, good news today, just to see a little bit of what the concert was over the weekend at Queen's Hall. I think it was on Saturday night. So people could get a sense of it. If you didn't know that it was on, but now you know.
Well, that's excellent news. That's not just good news. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Did you get, is that your version of an applause, or that you just rubbed in a paper?
Mr. Charles, let me organize that now.
They're just roughing up a brown paper bag.
That's a traditional, original. I waited to hear all you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Tony, belated birthday greetings to Tony Fraser, our most esteemed senior journalist, and who is also part of this show. Good morning and happy belated birthday greetings, Tony Fraser. He celebrated his birthday over the weekend also.
Yeah, happy birthday to Tony, man.
So I don't know if you want to go through some of the comments this morning, Wendell, from people who have joined the show early o'clock. There are some people who joined early o'clock. They don't mix matters. They on.
Well, Boy Bidesi beat everybody this morning from David.
Yeah, I saw that.
The happy hear me. Good morning to Boy Bidesi, Melissa from Shafle, Far Rockaway. Good morning, all you beautiful people. Suzanne Jessup, you're coming late today, girl. Blessed morning, Sir Charles, Richard, Wendell, love always. Suzanne, Suzette, and Mrs. Gemma. Patricia Defoe, good morning. Carol Guevara, good morning. Rena Buru Jennings, good morning. DL, good morning. Crew Ingrid Lemahert from Tucson, Arizona says good morning. Biznat Prasad also greets us this morning, and so is Alistair Hart. Oh, that Alistair, I saw that video with Nigel Peruz. I don't know if you all saw the video where he just collapsed while lying in a bar.
No, I didn't see it.
You didn't see that video?
No.
It was, you know the thing they call spontaneous death? Well, the video captured a spontaneous death. Somebody who wasn't ill, standing up, having a drink, liming with partners, and just collapsed to the ground and died.
Can I say about anything now? My mind is running mad a minute.
Yeah, the video captured that. I just felt it, boy.
I wouldn't watch that. I wouldn't watch that kind of video, actually.
Well, nobody knew what it was about. When I saw it, I said, "What is this video about?" And then the young man just collapsed, and people rushed to him, and the news was that he passed away after from heart attack. Good morning, Dilip Celeste, Mrs. R, champion of democracy, child of God. Blessed morning, gentlemen. Ron DeSantis Jr. also says good morning from Norfolk, Virginia. Stick Money Grip says good morning, gentlemen. It's so good to have you guys back. Well, and it's good to have you back too. And DL says seeing Destra in a different light. Ron DeSantis also says good morning again. Annie Bunyan says good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Annie.
And Steph said good morning, guys. Steph, I feel I know this person, CJ from New York says good morning. Hope all is well. Do have a fantastic day. And Chris too says grand rising, gentlemen. So it's great to have you all locked on and listening and watching. Alistair said he was the nicest person you will ever meet, only 35. That video is a scary video because it just shows you the fickleness of this thing. Fickleness, probably not fickleness of this thing called life. somebody standing, hanging out with friends, and just collapsed. I looked at the video over and over and over to see there were signs. And I saw his left foot sort of shake just before. You understand? And he just collapsed to the ground. It was it's a sad video to watch at. It's not horrific, but it's a sad video to look at. You know what I mean? Especially when you realize that the person died after. You know, it was anyway. Good morning, Susie B, and happy Monday morning to you all. We have a chock-full week. Well, up to Thursday, that is, because we're going into Holy Week.
It's a long weekend, people. Isn't that something to look forward to?
Yeah.
You know, when you said faculty, Wendell, I said, oh, that's something like, does it exist or not? like election promises from all parties.
I knew I said something wrong,
They're all faculty. You're not sure whether they're really real or not.
Well, we'll find out how real Patriotic Front is today.
That song is very faculty to me. Very what? Faculty. That's a word? No, neither is your promise.
I like me around certain people too often. They use some crazy words.
But there was this guy arrested, a Trinidad artist, for saying something about tie straps, and I was arrested over the weekend. That was one of the news items. So I don't know if people saw that video.
But we are going to show it.
Yeah.
Because guess what?
Code.
We are net radio.
Next thing, Black Lives Matter. You see all them cracks in them PNM area, them big dons people and them who balling about we not switching, and my granny tell me to vote that, and my papa tell me to vote that. All these people in every constituency, I could call them other PNM stronghold and them, all you need to wake up and smell the coffee. You know something? I just invest in 100,000 tie strap. Me and my crew will be coming around and tie strap all your mother, all your stronghold, or you will really be in a stronghold the night before election. That all you can go out there and vote. You know why? Because at the end of the day, like all you not waking up and smelling the coffee, all you seeing the country going down, all you seeing the ship sinking, and still talking about. Don't worry, all you have something new coming to all you. All your mother told all you waking up and smell the coffee, we will take action. I don't give a if they lock me up the day after election. You understand? For kidnapping. All your nasty mother. All you ain't learning. I will teach all you have lesson this election. Me and know you.
Well, I'm sorry, but the police didn't wait for the day after election. They acted on it right away. From the time I heard that video, I said, threatening people.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose he may probably tell the police that because of course he's innocent until proven guilty. Let's take that. I don't think he's actually been charged, but Sydney was detained, and of course he will actually tell the police, well, I wasn't serious. I was just joking as the heat of the moment. I assume that's going to be his defense. Obviously, I don't have 100,000 tie straps that I was saying. So is it freedom of speech or is it in the criminal arena? The court will decide if it goes to court and if he's actually charged. But do you think that goes beyond freedom of speech and is now criminal, Wendell? I suppose we shouldn't get it too much into it, but I don't know if it's sub judice yet, because I don't know if it's before the court system yet, but
No, well, we were here why I think where we could go with our poll this morning, because Prime Minister Stuart Young raised on the platform over the weekend too. I think it was it Saturday? Didn't I? I did go pass in a meeting. No, I passed a meeting Friday night. And the crazy. And he spoke about the UNC's campaign. And I think a lot of people know by now that the UNC have been using these so-called social media influencers. Some of them I don't know at all. You understand? And I'm on social media a lot. So these social media influencers allegedly have been paid $40,000 each by the United National Congress to aid in their campaign. I don't know how they're supposed to do that if they're going about like that young man, because I've seen a couple of the others with NCW and them insulting and berating people in the most despicable way. And it's mostly these African descendants who are being coerced into doing their bidding on social media.
Coerced?
Well, I saying coerced. I don't know if they're being paid. They said I heard that they were paid. I don't know if they're being paid.
So, but if they're being paid, that's not coercion. That's contractual.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I use the word coercion because I'm not sure.
Coercion is the wrong word. I'm telling you, you're using the wrong word.
Okay. So contracted to allegedly contracted.
That's contractual. That's not coercion.
Right. So allegedly contracted to campaign for the UNC. Why the UNC think that is a proper strategy, I don't know. They need to explain that. If in fact that they are the ones who employed these people to go on social media and cuss and threaten people like that young man, who I'm happy that the police acted almost immediately upon that video being released. But
if they have in fact contracted social influencers to market the UNC, I'm not talking about this particular one that we just saw, which of course has questions to answer, because you can't go into the realm of violence and threats. But so put him aside and chuck him aside. But let's talk about the other social influencers that just talking about this pretty much. However, they message it.
They cussing and thing to each other.
Yeah. Well, so people curse all the time. I don't find cursing is an issue. Cursing is not an issue for me.
Well, I know.
And neither Sir Charles.
I know that too.
Neither Dr. Rowley.
I know that. We know that for sure.
What's your young? But what I'm saying is that the issue of messaging, there is nothing fundamentally wrong in terms of hiring a social influencer, because brands do it all the time. Brands do it all the time. When you are a social influencer and say, "Hey, look what I got. This light that comes on, and once you pass by the light, isn't this a really neat product?" And you're advertising the product.
Yeah.
So it's a version of that for the politics.
Yes.
So there is nothing fundamentally wrong if a social influencer, in terms of their brand, if they have enough followers, and any party says, "Well, I'm willing to pay you to promote my brand," and they agree, then it's a contract. It's not coercion. And however they want to do their message, they can do their message. The PNM, the Patriotic Front, and the NTA also have the capacity to hire social influencers if they wish to sell the brand, because social influencers have a certain power now in terms of getting messages out than they did probably in the last election, and certainly the election before that, they probably didn't even exist in the way that they do now. So it is a way to market your brand. So let's not pretend that doesn't happen. It happens.
No, I'm not. We're not arguing against that. I think what Prime Minister Young raised on the platform was the fact that it seems a divisive tactic. You understand? To further divide the country along racial lines.
You mean in terms of how the messaging is being articulated?
Yes, and who they are using also too. You understand?
Yeah.
Who they are using. So
I haven't seen. I've come across some people, but I'm not so sure if they're social influencers or not, because some of them I don't know, as you rightly said.
Yeah.
But they may have some influence in certain people, because a lot of the local bacchanal and stuff doesn't really come up in my stream. I have to intentionally go and look for it. But I have people who it comes up in their stream all the time, so I have to consult those people and say, "What is the latest bacchanal? Because I know you have it."
Right.
But it's not on my stream, because my stream is all kind of international stories and articles and what's coming up. So sometimes I have to go in search of, and sometimes I might know who that is, and I'll say, "Who's that?" And say, "How come you don't know who that is?" But I just didn't know. But I saw some treated with the topic. I saw one who treated with the topic and said this is not what they said. Well, I'm paraphrasing, was that this is not something. This was something I would have done for free anyway. And if all the thing I'm being paid, well, and if somebody want to pay me to say what I was going to say anyway for free, then fine.
Yeah,
but that was their version.
Yeah.
So it's something. It's an ongoing issue. But I suppose it's how people say their messaging. And you know, some people are very colorful in terms of their language.
Yes.
And so you already have to, you know, we are in a time in terms of the election process in democracies, and this holds for democracies across the planet. We're in a time when messages can become twisted in all manner of ways, from AI to social media influencers, and can get very gritty and very sometimes even nasty in terms of how people are translating messages about parties and the politics. And it's not unique to Trinidad. Of course, Trinidad and Tobago has its own color, how we would do it. But it's an information age that we are in, and you have to wade through all of these messaging, and parties now have to have, in my opinion, some counteracting measure of how you deal with it and how you get your messaging out and how aggressively you do it in terms of counteracting those kind of messages that people can get from anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's coming to your phone. It's coming to your phone.
And all the PNM has to do, and which is what they've been doing, is replay what Jack Warner say about Kamala Pasad-Bissessar, what Ansel Roger say about her, what Gary Griffith say about her, what Philip Alexander say about her. That is the perfect counteraction. In other words, them people wasn't paid to say what they say. They said it because that's how they felt about her and the party. And all you have to do is replay that. And lately, Devant Maraj has been speaking. We know for sure Larry Lala has spoken. And I read a very interesting article from Rafiq Shah, who's more or less, since he got out of politics, stays out of the politics. But he wrote a very interesting article over the weekend that you all should read. I put it on my Facebook page. You understand? Because he's not saying who to vote for, you know. Rafiq Shah saying just don't vote for UNC. He ain't telling you who to go and vote for. He's just telling you, don't vote for UNC. And he outlined reasons why you shouldn't vote for UNC, which is basically what Philip Alexander said when he was against them, what Jack Warner said when he was against them, what any one of the others had to say when he was against them. You understand? Now they're hugging up. The hypocrisy of it is just astounding.
So I just wanted to go through the headlines quickly of the 3 daily newspapers so people will know what's going on. I know some of you ain't buying no papers, but I did. And I'll just go through the dailies and then we take some of your calls on that issue of social media influencers and stuff, and well, whatever you really want to talk about. But what is riling you up about the elections 2025 as we are now 14 days away? So let me start with the headlines, give you an idea what the headlines are. So the Trinidad and Tobago Daily Express for this morning, race for top cop, believe it or not, that's in process.
It have a race again?
Race for top cop. The Police Service Commission interviews 11 candidates for police commissioner at selection near's final stage. As SOE ends, 14 detainees charged. I think the SOE ended yesterday, didn't it, Wendell?
Yes, it did.
SOE detainees, 14 charged. And there's a joyful walk because it was Palm Sunday. For those of you who celebrate Palm Sunday and those of you who are Catholic, it was Palm Sunday over the weekend. And on the back page, Divine Destra, a queen of praise and all, not bacchanal. That's on the back page. And in the sports pages, 6 Calypso girls and top 16, netball not dead. And Central Sports win again. The Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for today. Let's go to the headlines quickly before we get into your interaction with us. 39 SOE detainees freed. 15 to appear in court today for gang-related and other charges. Education Minister, government alone can't stop bullying. That's the main story. There's a main picture here, state of emergency pictures, I guess. Is it Dites or Deets? Deets urges fight harder as Wendy's women take on Pakistan. That's a main headline in the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for today. And Newsday.
It better be Deeks or Richard.
Threat averted. Acting COP. 10 SOE detainees charged. Analysts to political parties keep it clean. And of course, this is the Holy Week. And there is a picture of the Anglican Bishop Claude Barkley as he distributes palm fronds to parishioners before the Palm Sunday procession. So that's the main picture. And on the back page, New track opens on April 15th. Wait is over for completion of Aisley Crawford Stadium. So that's now over. They have refurbished the Aisley Crawford Stadium. So the new track is opening on April 15th, which is tomorrow. Believe it or not. So that's it for our 3 dailies this morning. And so, of course, we can open up the lines at this point and for you to get a little interactive before we go to our morning poll. And of course, we'll be talking about social influencers and whether they were contracted or not and that sort of thing. So
whether you are swayed by what they are saying.
Well, you can WhatsApp us at 281-1315, but before calls, but you can WhatsApp call us at 281-1315 on this Monday morning, 2 weeks before general elections 2025. 281-1315. You can WhatsApp call us at that number and we take your call. Get interactive and come into the conversation. Of course, we have Mickela Panday in the next hour. The Patriotic Front will be with us in the next hour as we discuss, well, do they have a chance? Are their chances realistic in terms of in politics in 2025? We'll find out what Michaela Panday thinks. So
let me read a couple messages that came in while
did you read it?
Yeah,
what is that, Sir Charles? You have a call?
As they come. All right. Morning, caller.
So, Charles, good morning.
Morning, David.
Yes. Wendell, morning.
Morning, Miss Dabity.
Morning, Miss Dabity.
Yes. Here now, I don't know nothing about those social. First, I really know that these things happen on social media. I mean, I'm not on it. I only see from Wendell. When Wendell writes something, I'll read. But another people tell me that there are other whatever they call these people, like Wall Talk. I never know about that lady until I hear this back and she was gonna get a chance somebody send some kind of thing for me. So I don't really be interested in that. I don't find that makes sense for me. For me, it doesn't really augur well because I like constructive thing. I like little jokes and them. I like constructive talk. I don't like nonsense. And Richard, I'm not like you. I like things with cursing. I get to know. So
I don't love it. I mean, it doesn't please me. I'll be like, okay, let me hear you. but I hear you. It will tell if you really want your message to get through. Sometimes you can't use that kind of language in terms of if you really want to get a maximum audience, you know.
And that is the point. If you want to get you to a message, talk without using these words. Add it to it. Because for me, for one, I don't like movies when I get turned off, right? So influencers can influence me. And I always say, again, when I was growing up, nobody could influence me. You have to be your own person. You have to be a leader in your own mind. You have to be a strong person. And once somebody could influence you, you're not a strong person. Because if you're taking up and you're not reading for yourself, or you're not seeing for yourself, then you have to take the influencers at the word, you know? So you all have a good day. Before I go, I want to congratulate UE Endowment Fund. I went to Renegades in concert yesterday in Queen's Hall. And I don't know how much people, Richard, you could tell me, I haven't been to Queen's Hall for a long time. I don't know how much people could hold in Queen's Hall, but they didn't have no chairs empty.
About 750 around, something in that vicinity.
Just a little bit. But it was really nice and packed. But of course, with more senior citizens, of course.
Yeah. You find 750 is a little bit, yeah, but it's a stretch to fill Queen's Hall for many shows, eh?
Yeah.
You may think 750 is a little bit, but trust me, it's difficult to fill it.
But it should have been holding more because the place was ram out. So anyhow, you all have a wonderful day. I want to listen to Michaela. Goodbye.
Okay.
Lester Cragwell says, good morning, guys. Why does 6 buns that normally cost $11 now cost $37? Because a white cross is painted on it. Then Jesus paid it all? Richard, you have an answer for that?
I don't know that Jesus knew about hot cross buns.
No, but the cross. Because Steph answered later on. He said crosses are always expensive. Ask Marvin Sapp. Wayne Ramsey says good morning. And Okay. Zeba Peak says Cat Williams said it best. Influencers who don't influence. Okay. All right, Zeba Peak.
So we're taking your calls 281-1315. WhatsApp, call us 281-1315. Get
Go ahead,
into
caller.
it. Good morning, caller.
Yeah. Hey, morning, fellas.
Morning.
Yeah, hey, Richard. As much as we have a modern day influencers, they used to call them community leaders long time, and that was the influencers. And I think we always had them, and they were always used.
I don't think it's the same,
Not the same thing, Dean. I hear
that's not the same.
I hear your analogy, but it's not the same thing.
No, it's not.
Wendell used the word earlier.
I feel.
Wendell used the word earlier, default coercion. That's more in that line. But in terms of influencers, it's not exactly the same thing. They may have exercised influence, but in a different kind of way.
No. I mean, if you take it within the context, I'm not looking at that, but. Politicians always use influencers and the people within their community to engage young people, the people on the fence, and they go. But now we in a modern time, obviously the technology changed. I'm not using it as the community leader things. That is one aspect of it. We saw it with that video with the man using that kind of language and thing, and obviously overt thing. But there's another aspect. I've been in meetings where Wendell in certain parties I was interested to hear the language and what they were supposed to do to influence people in the communities and how you go about it and stuff like that and why you are here and thing. And that kind of but obviously technology changes the way you operate from non-technological situations. You just readapt how you sit within a video. But the influencers were there, and I just find that we just have to, as much as my point is, as much as technology brings different ways to operate, those operational guidelines were always used, and in one way or the other. Is within the political framework and thing.
Okay, thanks very much, Dean.
All right, thanks, Dean. All right, good. And our poll is already up.
Well, I mean, we're discussing it, but we will go to the yes or no after. But social influencers, do you think they are a legitimate way to get votes? Because that's the question. Do you think it's legitimate, or you think no, they shouldn't be used? So that's partly what we're discussing. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, guys. First time calling in the program.
All right, good morning.
I guess it will have to I guess it will have to depend on if you fall into that demographic of being influenced by somebody that you don't know. So and where you're voting to, because I vote San Fernando West. I live in San Fernando West, and Paris is our MP. And the transformation that San Fernando West has taken on in the last, say, 6 years. If you come to San Fernando 6 years ago and you come now, it's totally different. So I guess it will depend on how you rate things as it applies to issues that you're voting on. And mind you, they have had, and the government have had lots of opposition with what is happening there, because part of the highway on the waterfront, I think it's now court matter. They didn't get to finish it, and I mean, so imagine if that didn't happen, how far along things would have been. But
all right,
if you pass in San Fernando, it's totally different. So I can't see any influencer influencing people who have their eyes open.
Yeah, that's what
I'm talking about San Fernando.
Okay, thanks very much.
You see, one of the ways that the influencers are being used to is not just to get them to vote for a party, it's also to turn you off of voting completely, because some people are getting so upset by what they're seeing and what they're hearing. They're saying they may be saying, well, I ain't going to vote, and that is the issue. This is my unscientific analysis of this election, and I go in percentages. If we have 44% East Indians, and we have 44% Africans, and we have 12% mix, I guarantee you, regardless of which party the East Indians support, in other words, if they support, whether they support the UNC in large measure, or let's say 10 or 12% of them support the PNM, and another 5% support the they are all going to vote. Regardless of who they're going to vote for, they are all going to vote. The 44% Africans, a percentage of them will not vote regardless. Okay? And so that's why the 12% of the mixed population, in other words, the whites, the Syrians, the Chinese, that's where the election result will lie. That's my unscientific,
as you said. We have a caller online. Caller, good morning to you.
Good morning, Chelsea, Wendell, and everybody else.
Morning, Miss Sampson.
Morning, Miss Sampson.
I would like to know why if African people choose to degrade, some African people choose to degrade themselves and their race and the people and family to take on these jobs. I mean, in the words of Rodney King, while I was living in LA, can't we all get along? You all have a good week.
All right.
Thank you very much, Miss Sampson.
That's an age-old question, huh?
Why can't we all get along?
Yeah. One of my WhatsApp people, of course, are suggesting that we could restructure the question and say, can social influences get you to change your vote or change your way of voting?
Well, it's basically the same question.
Yeah. In what kind of way? Do you think it's a different way to get votes? I see people already voting on it, even though we are still discussing it, but we'll still count your votes anyway.
Yeah.
In terms of the voting process.
But just to greet a couple other people. Island Girl says, good morning, gentlemen. Well, she already voted too. Boy Bidesi already voted. So we'll go back to that. Ron DeSantis says, Dean, back in the day, local community party activists, not the same as social media influencers. Well, we did say that. Finbar Collins says, it is legitimate, but my issue is the misinformation that is being spread through these means. Zeba Peak says he's correct. It depends on the demographic you're trying to reach. While we old farts, well, Zeba Peak, speak for yourself. Julia Batiste says good morning, and she voted also. All right. There was a message from Ramkala, one person earlier on. Where did it go?
Right. While you look for the message, let's take the call. Caller, good morning to you.
I suppose you can say by that, can social influences influence the way you vote? Do you think they have power to influence the way you vote? Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am well. How
are you speaking to Sir Charles?
Of course, Mrs. Zara.
Oh, well, acknowledge me when I say good morning.
Get both there, Sir Charles.
Mrs. Zara, good morning.
Good morning.
Guys, I'm a little short, dog. Little short.
Hey, careful where you're going, huh?
Exactly. You tread carefully, Mr. Stevens. Good morning, Mr. Stevens. And good morning, Mr. R. Save the best.
Good morning, Mrs. R.
Good morning, darling. I was watching a question on social influencers, a legitimate way to get votes. And I say, yes, I don't see a problem. I don't see a reason why. I mean, you shouldn't say they're not allowed, because to me, two of those particular influencers out there right now, I'm good with both of them. And you know what?
No, we're not asking if they should be allowed to do what they're doing, you know. We're not questioning that democratic right they have, you know.
Oh, but you're asking if they're a legitimate way to get votes.
Yeah, we're asking what they are doing. What they are doing. Can they, in fact, influence you to vote for a party?
Oh, well then I'll definitely, well then I interpreted wrong. I will I will change
Yeah.
my
We
answer.
will change the actual voting question to say exactly what Wendell just said
Yeah.
and what was recommended by my WhatsApp friend. I wanted to say the name.
Oh,
So
well then I would say no, because I don't think they could, definitely not, as I say, because I'm good with both of them, two in particular, and they're just known to be like that, and if they choose to carry on so and behave like that. One time I heard one of them, and I heard, as I say, I don't have a problem with obscenities at all either. So all I listen to her and she carry on there, I just go on to her next feed, because I mean she entitled her opinion. If she wants to conduct herself like that, if she wants to carry on like that, no problem. But she certainly can influence me, and neither can the other party. So I would say no.
All right.
Okay.
I'll take up enough time. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Morning, quickly, morning, Rena, and good morning to Zena, and morning, CJ. And of course, all the other callers.
Thank you very much.
Club, they have a radio girls club, Rena, CJ, Zena, and they have a few others, They have a radio girls club,
you're on your own, eh?
When we have in the boat ride, we had to work with some
If
beggars.
you were looking for support, you're on your own.
Hey, and look where you going now.
Do we have any more calls, or can we go to the poll?
You can go to the poll because you're watching the time.
Okay. Well, so we just rephrase the poll a little. This is the actual poll. Can social influencers influence you to vote for a particular party? Is that a way that you think is clearer, Wendell?
Yes, that's clearer. Mm-hmm.
So can social influencers influence you to vote for a political party? That's our poll this morning. We just rephrased it slightly. So what do you think? Can social influencers influence you to vote for a particular party?
So if you voted before, could you vote again, please? Starting from now?
Yeah.
Starting from Wayne Ramsey then. Wayne Ramsey has started it going. He says no.
Caller online there too. All right, so let's take your calls. Maybe you can call us, right? Hi, good morning, caller.
Well, good morning. I was to make my contribution, but since it's voting time, I'll say hell no, the two dance.
All right.
Oh, Lord.
Dilip Celeste says no. Rena Boudou Jennings didn't vote. Boy Bidesi says no. Susie B says no. Champion of Democracy says no. Rena Boudou Jennings says no. Keith Clark says yes. Carol Guevara says absolutely not. DL says nah, nobody could influence me to vote PNM. Okay. All right. DL was a little more specific. PNM not using influencers. All PNM had to do is play back videos of Jack Warner.
Oh, come on, Wendell. Come on, Wendell. PNM does use influencers too.
Oh, come on.
Good morning. Miss Sampson says no.
All right. Ingrid in Tucson says no. Melissa says no. Annie Bunyan says no. Bernice McDonald says no. I've already made up my mind who I'm voting for, and that won't change. Lester Cragwell says yes to the poll once they're talking facts. Slick Money Grit says no. Jasodra Ramkalawan, this is a brand new name. I suspect it's an old name that somebody changed.
Oh, God, stop commentary now. Just go with the vote.
Guys, they said that Kamala sabotaged the gas deal. Okay, Jasodra, you need to vote. CJ from New York, she just greeting the radio club.
Captain Runs on the WhatsApp says no. And who else do we have there? Let us say good morning to Sean Ram. Sean Ram says yes.
All right.
We have
When
a caller
CJ
there.
voted, she said no.
All right. So you got those two, right?
Yeah.
Right. Good morning, caller.
I want to tell Richard, if they didn't have these set of damn liar influencers out there, and the ads telling all those lies, PNM would not have me realize it didn't have no such a thing coming from the PNM, but you had to rebut the foolishness and the lies. that it have out there. So you have to rebut them. Other than that, you won't hearing anything from PNM people. And nobody out there can convince no PNM not to vote.
As a matter of fact, there's been a criticism that the PNM is very weak on social media. That has been the criticism. Because all the PNM had to do is play over Philip Alexander, Jack Warner, and all the others. That's all they had to do.
Wendell, PNM has had people since social media exists that advocates their point of view.
Right, but I'm saying they've been very weak. They ain't cussing nobody like how the UNC influencers cussing people in.
Zina, you finished?
They used to have something like that, Wendell, and you used to say, "Oh God, why is cussing carry on?" So
hold on, guys. Zina finished.
I call it no names. You're supposed to know.
All right, I just
message me the name. All right, Zina, thanks.
No, I just wanted to end my conversation by telling you.
Voting, Zina.
That snake oil you plan to bring, keep it for yourself. You start to use it from all now.
Okay.
So can social influences influence you to vote for a particular party? That's our poll this morning. Of course, you can call in at 281-1315. You can WhatsApp call us at 281-1315. And we take your votes. Any more votes on the comment stream, Wendell?
Yes, we have Jasodra Ram Kalawan says yes. Alistair Hart says no. Well, Finbar Collins voted already. Oh God. Finbar said he could bring Jesus Christ and all he ain't voting for them. Andre Reno says no.
Okay, and
Jesus Christ coming this weekend, you know, Finbar. I don't know if you know that. He'll be back.
Right. So Black Pearl is on the message board. But Black Pearl, I know this is Anoya. She said, "Good morning, guys. Social media influencers influence the uninformed, especially young voters. It's unfortunate that the information is not accurate." Right, and that's a Black Pearl. But Black Pearl, is that a yes or no?
Well, that is a commentary, but that's not really her particular vote. What's her vote?
Black Pearl, then you need to send your vote.
Yeah. That's just a commentary on it. So can social influences influence you to vote for a political just wants to come out my mouth. So can social influencers influence you to vote for a particular party? That's our poll this morning. What says you?
Right. Michael in Long Island says no. And Marva, you need to vote, all right? And yeah, I think that is it for now.
Richard, when we come back from the 7
vote on my phone, one of them is no at this point. But say that again.
When we come back from the 7 o'clock news, you'll play over that clip from that influencer who the police acted on right away. So people can get an idea of where it reached.
Mm.
You understand? Because I don't know that any one of the others reached that far. You understand?
Mm-hmm. But sometimes it reaches, but sometimes it goes, well, anyway, let me hush. I'm hushing. I'm officially zipping my mouth. I'm not saying anything in terms of that. But in the next hour, we do have Michaela Panday from the Patriotic Front joining us in the 7 to 8 hour. And so we will discuss Patriotic Front and, what their chances are in the upcoming elections, what they think, and I think people have a soft spot for Mickela Panday. I do think they do.
Well, we'll find out in Kouva
But we will find out. We will find out when we speak with her and get a sense of where she stands vis-a-vis the UNC and the PNM. Well, she did say that, I think she did say on the political platform that, the country needs to move away from the UNC and the PNM and welcome to the Patriotic Front. And of course, later on this week, we're going to see what other political leaders we can get on before the general elections on April 28th.
Yes, we're gonna get the political leader of the APP, the All People's Party, Kizelle Jackson. We'll get her before the end of the week, I'm sure.
Okay, so Black Pearl says no way in capital letters, so should mean no.
Ron DeSantis actually voted and he said yes.
And Nikisha is also saying no, and and Sexy Reds is saying yes.
And let me also thank all of those who have logged on. We have actually this is our highest number thus far since we started this program of people looking at us, and we are very appreciative of you.
So, we can continue to vote on the poll as we head to the news because it's 7 a.m. on the nose. So we will continue to take your poll. I will remove it, but you know what the poll is. Can social influencers influence you to vote for a particular party? And I'll give you the final results after the 7 o'clock news as we go for this break.
Men, women tired of the invasive, painful old methods of testing prostate and breasts?
The Institute of Health and Fitness Clinic and Wellness Center offers comprehensive and non-invasive diagnostic testing, which indicates the nature and extent of diseases and tests your nutritional levels. Our quick testing can identify early signs of problems by evaluating many of the bodily functions, such as male and female sexual function, gastrointestinal function, liver function, kidney function, thyroid function, heart and brain function, and also cancer testing. Results are comparable with other medical lab tests without the use of needles or embarrassing specimen cups, and is pain-free. We also offer all natural treatments. Visit us now at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna, or call 492-7397 or 289-6363.
Net Radio News Now.
Taking a look at stories in the news now. Prime Minister Stuart Young has promised to review the legal firearm system by which ordinary citizens can apply for guns. Speaking at a PNM election campaign meeting at Signature Hall in Chaguanas on Thursday night, Young said the government recognized that law-abiding citizens wanted some review of the system and the government was committed to that, but stressed that no government could give out guns willy-nilly. I heard a conversation has taken place from those on the other side about giving out guns. I want to talk to you all a little bit about giving out guns. First of all, no government can give out guns. So don't let anybody teeth your head about giving out guns. But we recognize that the legal firearms system needs to be addressed. We recognize that that is an area that law-abiding citizens have concern about. I give the undertaking here tonight that in a responsible manner that the next PNM government will look at that and do it in a responsible manner. Not giving out guns to everybody, but looking at how the system can be properly addressed, he said. Young also said the PNM would bring legislation to make law enforcement officers more accountable, and there would also be special laws to prosecute persons who attack law enforcement officers. Many of the elements of Prime Minister Stuart Young's crime plan already exists, has been proposed by the United National Congress, UNC, or cannot be implemented because the police do not have the tools, says UNC Tabaquite candidate Sean Sobers. At the UNC general election Mayaro community meeting at the Rio Claro East Secondary School on April 12, Sobers criticized the People's National Movement, PNM, plans for national security revealed by Young at a PNM public meeting at Signature Hall, Chaguanas on April 10. Giving examples, he said Young spoke about expanding police undercover operations and having an elite squad within the police service, but undercover operatives were already functioning in TT and there were already several specialized tactical units in the TTPS. He also spoke about creating a joint task force with the TTPS, Immigration and Customs, which was proposed in 2019 but was never implemented. Sobers said the UNC, under Kamla Persid-Besesser, would fight crime in a more practical manner by building a new forensic science center, creating special offenses for home invasions, ensuring the country's CCTV cameras were monitored, members of the protective services would be allowed to take their guns home to protect themselves and more. Anglican Bishop Claude Berkeley is urging people not to feel threatened when they see others elevating in life. Instead, he said, everyone should focus on showing love and caring about the well-being of others. He was addressing the congregation at the Holy Trinity Cathedral, Port of Spain on April 13, Palm Sunday. The procession, which included both Anglicans and Roman Catholics, walked through downtown Port of Spain worshiping and distributing palm leaves folded into a cross to begin the observance. During his sermon, Berkeley said it was the day of resurrection, which many call a curtain raiser for the Holy Week. In any event, an important day in the history of our salvation. It is the day of the Lord's triumphant entry into Jerusalem. It is a story of great drama and purpose. Berkeley said Jesus went to Jerusalem to make his final appeal about the kingdom of God. He went on to say, listen, life is 10 times better when you live according to these values: truth, justice, righteousness, peace, love, faith, hope. He said while Jesus was simply going to do his Father's business, some people saw that as a threat. Noting TNT is in a high season of politics, as the April 28th general election nears, he said Palm Sunday is also very political. People like to say the church mustn't talk politics and it mustn't get involved in politics, but I think they mean partisan politics. He continued, as people come forward for leadership, as people are being promoted, then somebody else is a threat. He urged believers to listen to the message of the kingdom and live in love. In international news, at least 32 people have been killed in a Russian missile strike on the Ukrainian city of Sumy on Sunday, officials said. 2 ballistic missiles struck the heart of the city at around 10:15 a.m. as people gathered to celebrate Palm Sunday, according to officials. Images posted from the scene on official channels showed lines of black body bags lying on the side of the road, while more bodies were seen wrapped in foil blankets among the debris. Video footage also showed fire crews as they fought to extinguish the shells of burned-out cars among the rubble from damaged buildings. On this bright Palm Sunday, our community has suffered a terrible tragedy, Acting Mayor Artem Kobzar said in a statement on social media. Unfortunately, we already know of more than 20 deaths. At least 32 people were killed as a result of the attack, including 2 children, the State Emergency Service of Ukraine said in a statement. A further 84 people were injured, including 10 children, it said. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed that rescue efforts were ongoing and said dozens had been killed in the double missile attack. According to preliminary information, dozens of civilians were killed and wounded. And that's news at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio.
Join me, Brother David Muhammad, every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio, Powerful Radio. Join me to hear knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Tuesdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
The Trinidad and Tobago Blind and Visually Impaired Cricket Association presents Back Where Dance Was Nice. Back Where Dance Was Nice. On Saturday, April 26th at Iris on the Avenue, corner of Cornelius Street and Arapika Avenue, Woodbrook, from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. with your DJs, Sir Charles, Bates, No Time to Wait, DJ Agos, and the ladies, the DJ, Dr. Ross. Prizes for the best dressed male and female, along with other door prizes. Tickets available at Iris Lodge, Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association, North and South offices, 116 to 118 Duke Street, Port of Spain, and 121 Lower Hillside, Coffee Street, San Fernando. And from association members, $150, and limited 2 persons on 1 ticket for $250. This event is in aid of expenses for an upcoming regional blind cricket tournament in Barbados. For more information, you can call 351-5088.
Wake up with the Net Radio Breakfast Show. Rise and shine with Wendell Stevens and Richard Raghubarsing, weekdays from 6 o'clock to 9 a.m. Start your day feeling good, energized, and informed as we tackle the biggest issues of the day, get you where you need to be on time, and keep you in the know about everything that matters. With elections coming up on April 28th, we bring you insightful discussions, expert analysis, and the latest updates so you're always ahead of the curve. Mornings matter. Your voice matters. And it all starts right here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio. The Net Radio Breakfast Show, weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. Wake up informed and stay ahead.
Pushing back, I coming to you. Plus I'm watching your bumper rolling back. It thicker than a milkshake. Not one mistake. You have everything I want. That's a fact. Only so much I could say. So would me say I could be your nice, nice girl. Would you go home with me? Would you go home with me? I giving you right spice all night. Would you go home with me? Would you go home with me? Say, girl, you have everything I want. Every single thing I want. It's wrapped up in you. Wrapped up in you. Pressure when you hold me from the front. If I only tell you what I going through. I going through. I feel you're making little style on me. Tell me what is your deal? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want you come over. Let me leave this party and make it real. Real, real, real. I never seen a woman grip me so. I feel like going crazy. Little basso day. If you're ready to leave now, we could go. I'll show we have energy. Real chemistry. I could be your nice, nice girl. Would you go home with me? Would you go home with me? I giving you right spice all night. Would you go home with me? Would you go home with me? Say, girl, you have everything I want. Every single thing I want. It's wrapped up in you. Wrapped up in you. Pressure when you hold me from the front. If I only tell you what I going through. I going through. I wanna love you down. Lie down till we see the sun. Lie down, let me show you some. I wanna love you now. Lie down till we see the sun. Lie down, let me show you some. I could give you nice, nice girl. Would you go home with me? Would you go home with me? I giving you right spice all night. Would you go home with me? Would you go home with me? Say, girl, you are nice, nice girl. Would you go home with me? Would you
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
Say, girl, you are nice, nice girl. Would you go home?
Yeah. That's a good question, Would you go home with me? 14 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. We're inside hour number 2. And of course, remember you're on the New Era TT Radio. We call it Net Radio. As we welcome you inside hour number 2 of the Breakfast Show.
I giving you right spice all night. Would you go home with me? Would you go home with me?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
A good place to break your fast this Easter weekend. For those of you all who were fasting, come down to 137 Western Main Road, St. James. Break that fast.
Thanks, Wendell. Of course, we have coming up Mickela Panday, political leader of the Patriotic Front. She'll be joining us shortly around 7:20 a.m. And we'll have a conversation with Miss Panday concerning the Patriotic Front and what their chance is, what is their vision, articulate what their vision is in some of the serious issues facing Trinidad and Tobago in the next 5 years. Because whoever is elected is there for the next 5 years, unless, of course, they call an early election, which can happen.
Yeah.
We know it can happen. So, it was an interesting news item we didn't mention this morning, that Trinity Mall has been sold
Yes,
For,
I saw that.
Wendell, when they were selling Trinity Mall, I was like, I wonder how much a mall costs in my mind. Like when I'd be passing Trinity Mall and I know it was for sale through the liquidators and stuff like that. I'm like, how much would a mall cost? And I would say, maybe it's like, what, 80 million? Maybe $100 million. This is me thinking, I think maybe it's $100 million or something. Well, let me tell you, it's $505 million to Trinity Mall. $500 million is how much it cost to purchase, and it was purchased by a consortium. Let me see if I can find out who the consortium was. The Trinity Commercial Center was sold for $505 million. The deal was finalized last week with a consortium of real estate developers, Johnny Abood, Anthony Rael, and contractors Calico and Fidesz Limited, securing the property, and Darwin Limited too. I'm not sure. Am I saying that?
No, you ain't saying Darwin Limited.
What kind of money you're talking about there?
So Trinity Mall is sold, and of course, these are obviously people with, I assume, some deep pockets, because you need some money to refurbish Trinity Mall. Yes, I suppose if I was buying Trinity Mall, you probably, because there's a lot of land space that has not been utilized yet. So you probably use it maybe for residential development or some other things to enhance how people,
there's Eastgate Mall right there now too.
Well, it's further down the road, yeah. So so you will see how it all plays out. But we have Mickela Panday coming up, and let me give you the results of the morning poll. Any further votes?
No. Well, Lester Cragwell changed his vote. He said, "I changed my vote to no." So you would have had him as a yes. He changed it to no. That other vote? Right at 7:01.
No, nothing else on this side.
Well, our poll this morning, just in case you forgot, is: can social influencers influence you to vote for a political party? That's our poll this morning. And we had 28 people voting on the poll this morning. And of the 28 people voting in the allotted time, 23 of you said no. Social influencers cannot influence you to vote for a particular party. And 5 of you said yes, you think they can. So those are our results. 23 people said no, and 5 people said yes. So now you know.
It'll be interesting. I mean, we're going to speak to Michaela Panday shortly, but it'll be interesting to find out Kouva North, how that campaign has been going, because the UNC would have changed the candidates and put one of their deputy political leaders, Jaylene John, in that particular seat. And I mean, clearly, Ms. John may have requested or was given us what they considered a safe seat, because Kouva North has never voted against the UNC. You understand? And maybe that was the thinking of putting Jaylene John there. Now, Michaela Panday is there, and that was a seat held by her father for over 20 years. If I might be 30, actually. You understand? He would have stayed as MP for Kouva North for a number of years. So it'll be very interesting, Michaela Panday in that seat, because she would have previously contested, I think, an Oropu seat for the UNC, Michaela Panday. I think it was one of the Oropu seats she was MP for, So it'll be interesting to find out how that campaign is going, her campaign is going, because the UNC must be worried. They must be worried, because Kouva North, PNM got over 5,000 votes there last election. To the UNC, just over 12,000. So the PNM would have gotten just over 5,000, the UNC just over 12,000. If Michaela Panday is able to make a dent into that 12,000 UNC votes, we could have a serious three-way battle in that constituency. You understand?
Yeah. I know you wanted to see the same clip again, Wendell. Do you still want me to play that clip or don't bother anymore?
Yeah, no, play it, because this is what is passing off as influencing on social media. You understand? And this person, though, was detained by the police. We don't know if he has been charged, but this person was in fact detained because of what I consider to be threats in that.
And next thing, Black Lives Matter. You see all them cracks in them PNM area, them big dons people and them who balling about we not switching, and my granny tell me to vote that, and my papa tell me to vote that. All these people in Library constituency, I could call them other PNM stronghold and them, all you need to wake up and smell the coffee. You know something? I just invest in 100,000 tie strap. Me and my crew will be coming around and tie strap all your mother, all your stronghold, or you will really be in a stronghold the night before election. That all you can go out there and vote. You know why? Because at the end of the day, like all you're not waking up and smelling the coffee, all you're seeing the country going down, all you're seeing the ship sinking, and still talking about, don't worry, all you have something new coming to all you. All your mother, all you're waking up and smell the coffee, we will take action. I don't give a if they lock me up the day after election. You understand? For kidnapping. All your nasty mother. All you ain't learning. I will teach all you have to listen this election. Me and know you.
And just in case you're just listening and you're not watching, he is dressed in a UNC t-shirt. The UNC has not distanced themselves from that. I don't know what is wrong with the UNC. They had an election that they had a good chance in, and that is what they're allowing, and not distancing themselves from it. They are crazy. They have to be crazy.
Well, we have to go to our Let's Talk segment because it's about that time. Next up, Michaela Panday of the Patriotic Front. So
yeah, she needs to put on her camera.
Yeah. So Miss Panday, you're in the studio. I don't know if you're hearing us. You should be hearing us. So so we have Miss Mickela Panday joining us at this point, and we're going to be discussing Patriotic Front business.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Panday.
How are you guys?
We are good.
Good.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm realizing just how strong the human body is if the mind is focused.
That's another way of saying you're tired.
I'm exhausted.
But Michaela Panday, thanks so much for joining us on the breakfast show. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us this morning. Of course,
Thank you for having me. And good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much.
Of course, the elections are looming in the distance. It's what, 14 days away exactly. In terms of the election day. And of course, you're going up for Kouva North. But before we start, just give us a sense of why you felt it was important to form the Patriotic Front. I know when we first interviewed you last elections, I know the Patriotic Front was certainly something that was that you had formed, I think, back then, but you decided to sit it out that elections, and I think it was disheartening for you because I remember you being very disappointed that you couldn't do it then. But you're here this time around, so just if you could remind our listeners and viewers across the planet, actually, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, are watching on, why you formed the Patriotic Front.
Well, we formed the Patriotic Front because we were tired of the empty promises and tired of leadership that forgets people after the election. And people were really looking for real change. leadership is about service and not self-interest. And we wanted to really reset the politics to give power back to the people. And I have said before, this is not just a party, it's a movement. May I say, for national restoration. And of course, because we were very fed up of the tribal politics. Young people are fed up of tribal politics, and especially we see it rearing its ugly head so much during election time. And people don't care about that anymore. You know, young people want to survive. People on the whole, they want to survive. They're concerned about crime. They're concerned about putting food on their tables. Where can I get a job? These are the things that matter to people, and tribal politics does not serve this country well.
But Ms. Panday, could you chime in on our poll this morning? You know why I'm asking you in particular that? Because sure. I would have noticed that you have been sticking to the issues in terms of your critique of the government. You've been staying clear of the political bacchanal. Do you think that social media influencers has a place in an election like this, and can they in fact influence people to change their vote or to vote for a particular party?
I think it depends on the demographic, yes. Which makes it dangerous when you have people who don't know what they're speaking about. So I think you're balancing freedom of speech with some kind of moderation. So I think for certain people there will. But what shocked me this time was how much the older people were being influenced without fact checking absolutely anything. So initially I thought, the younger people and influencers will listen. But if you flip it around, and the nonsense that some of the parties are saying, it's the older generation just taking that and swallowing it firsthand like if it's God's word. So social media does definitely affect the election, and it will. And the sad thing is that lies and commerce and bacchanal is so much more interesting to watch than issues and that affecting people and solutions. But the 29th will come, regardless of what happens and who is in government. And when the 29th comes, let us hope that those who are influenced, perhaps not in the right way, don't wake up to recover it, because they regret it, because there will be 5 years either way.
Yeah. What was your modus operandi in terms of bringing the Patriotic Front to these elections in 2025? I'm just talking from informal conversations I've had with friends and different people that I meet. And I must admit that there is a soft spot. I will say this. There is a soft spot for the Patriotic Front, and there is a soft spot for you, and of course the legacy of your father. For a lot of people I spoke with, they were willing to look at the Patriotic Front. But this is prior to the calling of the elections and stuff like that. At that point, they felt that they didn't know enough of the Patriotic Front. They didn't know what the Patriotic Front stood for. What is the economic policy? What is the energy policy? The different issues that and challenges that face Trinidad and Tobago today. How would you respond to those people in terms of the Patriotic Front and its presence in the Trinidad and Tobago political space?
That space was locked off to us by traditional media completely. And in fact, what you will see is we're still being locked out by certain sections of the media. So I thank you so much, my friend, for having me here. Oh, completely. Nobody wants to hear about economic policy, fiscal and economic policy. Nobody wants to hear about those things out of an election time. It is also extremely difficult when you are not in the parliament and you're sort of a lone voice out there. You would see other political parties who may have been heard a bit more than the Patriotic Front, but ask yourself, what were they saying? It was always a set of bacchanal who fighting who saying this, and headline grabbers completely. Nobody was in terms of the media at least. But what was important important to us was we were on the ground with, let us say, the poor and the powerless, and helping people and on the ground and spreading the word there. But I totally understand what people are saying, but we are here now. And we're trying to get our word out, and you've given us this opportunity, and I'm very grateful.
Well, what makes the Patriotic Front different from the PNM and the UNC?
Sorry, we just broke up a second there.
I say, what makes the Patriotic Front different from the PNM or the UNC?
Well, definitely, we are not red, we are not yellow. You know, we are the colors of every citizen of this republic, and we are a party built on unity and not division, and that is all you are seeing right now: division, fighting, quarreling, mudslinging. I don't know if you boys had seen when they meet up on the road with each other. It's madness going on on the streets right now. You know, we are different because we are offering real solutions. What you see every single 5 years is almost recycled slogans. The next thing is, we are here. We want to serve with humility, accountability, transparency. That's important to us. That is sorely lacking in Trinidad and Tobago. And most of all, we don't believe in safe seats. We believe that where people demand change, that no seat is safe.
Ms. Panday,
yes, sir.
Just to piggyback a bit on Richard's question in terms of the publicity of the Patriotic Front,
Yeah.
You have 37 candidates, including yourself, in this election. I think second only to the PNM. You actually have more than the UNC in terms of candidates in this election. But who are they? Why aren't we hearing a bit more of the Patriotic Front and their candidates per se?
We are trying to get the word out there through social media, but we have not. We don't have the money to put in ads and to do that in traditional media at this time. It's extremely expensive, as you would know. So we take the opportunity, as you have given to us, to come onto the show. So we, for example, we have had quite a number of people go on to different TV programs. Dr. Windsy Adams, principal of Bishops and C, she's for Port of Spain South. She has been on. Alexi Henry, Chanapuna has been on. So we grab the opportunities that we have available to us.
How do you respond?
Just a second, Ms. Panday, is it possible for you to turn on your camera, or you're not able to do so at this time?
I'm actually in my car, and I might scare you the way I'm looking.
I doubt.
You'll be surprised.
How do you respond? How do you respond to the comment by the political leader of the United National Congress, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, that she has purged the UNC of the dynasty and some other words she would have used? Clearly, in other people's opinion, referring to the Panday generation.
I'm always amazed at the media, and not you boys, obviously, but I'm always amazed that they don't ask her what she means by that and why she felt the need to do that. And I hope that the people of the UNC wake up and see what was the agenda all along. And I hope that they are able to put two and two together and realize that this is not about me not wanting to speak to her and all these lies that were told, but that there was never a door open to get into the UNC, to speak to the leader, not for the leader to give me anything. Kamala Persad-Bissessar can't give me anything.
So it was just, but I get it. The communication links just weren't there. You know what? Ms. Panday, the issue of what's the vision of the Patriotic Front, because it's very clear in terms of the PNM. Let's look at the PNM in terms of what their strategy is in terms of the energy sector, etc. And of course, the energy sector is a big part of Trinidad and the Trinidad and Tobago landscape. And you talked about, I've seen some platform speeches where you talked about or referred to dragon gas. And I'd be interested to hear, and I think our viewers would be interested to hear, how would your party tackle the issues facing the energy sector? And do you have a person identified that you may or may not want to mention in terms of the expertise in the energy sector in the Patriotic Front that will be taking the mantle in that regard?
First of all, I don't think you need one person to do this. So you can't identify one person. I think you need a group of people. You need a team. And that is what we have. We need to know, first of all, and I always say, and I'm very, very wary of political parties and leaders committing themselves to something that they are not sure that they can do. So what are the facts? That's the first thing that I would need to assess. What are the facts when you go in there? What has really happened? I continuously speak about accountability and transparency. Is what the government saying to the people in Trinidad and Tobago correct? I would need, before making any kind of decision, to know and assess what is going on, what has really happened. We haven't seen any documents. We just see people coming and having press conferences. What I can tell you is, would I have put all my eggs in one basket? Absolutely not. I think that's not, any business person will tell you that that's not the way to go. Because of course, if something goes wrong, you lost everything. So what are the deals that have been made? Trinidad and Tobago never know what's happening to it. We never know what's happening to its country and its resources. We never know. And that is also something that makes the Patriotic Front different. Because, okay, who owns Pitch Lake? We continuously hear about the Pitch Lake. Pitch Lake is a resource that belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We don't know what is going on. And unless you know what's going on, I don't think that you can make any sort of commitment. Otherwise, it would be very imprudent of me to do that. But again, it just seems that everything we were banking, everything on this deal. And as we know, as geopolitics changes, things can change. And as I've said before, Trump is now there and he has changed his mind. And we're caught with our pants down, just looking around thinking, well, what are we going to do? Then of course, Dr. Rowley and Mr. Stuart Young will come and say, they will bash the opposition, will say something that they have no idea what's going on either, and kind of pull something out of nowhere, and they start doing a tit for tat. But what the people need to know is what the truth is, what is our position, and don't come and tell us on the 29th we need to tighten our belt and things are going bad. Tell people, Trinidadian people are very understanding people. Tell us what's going on. I don't know what the secret is. Governments are there to simply manage the resources of the people temporarily, and then they to move on. A patriotic, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. On the flip side of that, Ms. Panday, how then do you respond to the promises that are being made by the opposition if they get power, in terms of the 10% wage negotiation, the reopening of the Petrotrin refinery, all these other clearly grandiose promises that they've been making? How do you respond to that on the other side?
They're fooling people. They're fooling people, and they understand that the people are desperate, and they understand that the people are hungry. It's a hustle out there. You boys know that. For people to eat food, when looking, they're looking for something to help them, and they're selling them dreams that they themselves do not know that they can fulfill. So they say, I'm going to go into this sector of workers to vote for me. What I could tell them that will make them believe and vote for me. I need to have the pensioners vote for me. I will tell them I will raise pension by so and so. I need to get Labour to vote for me. Labour right now works with the government, so we'll tell them so and so. I mean, this is ridiculous. Because I have heard some madness. I mean, this is not possible. How are you going to promise people this when you do not know the state of the treasury? What you can say is what we are saying. First,
just to interrupt you, we're getting a slight feedback. I don't know if it is that somebody else is in the car with you watching it on the channel. You just need to reduce the volume a little bit so that we can hear you a little clearer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have anything on for me.
Okay.
But it happens in the vehicle. Trust me. You get a feedback anytime you're in a vehicle. Because it comes through your radio, I'm sure. It's coming through the system.
Yeah, something is happening. But we're hearing you, but it just would make it a little bit clearer. You know, the issue of promises, Ms. Panday, is something that we would have tackled last week in one of our programs, election promises, that, so many parties like to, parties generally proffer something, some sort of olive branch to voters to vote for me. Here's what you will get. And I know you have talked about, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think you've talked about minimum wage, and that minimum wage should be increased, and that's something that your party would do. You could correct me if I'm wrong. The issue, I also wanted you also said you would, I believe, remove VAT from essential food items. You'd back farmers to grow more, import less, minimum wage revised, an automatic cost of living adjustments for the public sector. That was something you were holding out to the public sector. You have any idea whether the country has the finances to manage some of what you're suggesting, specifically like the minimum wage? And even though the minimum wage, of course, will affect the corporate sector, but it is something that you're promising. Is it that you've had talks with the corporate sector to know that they can afford a minimum wage increase at this time?
First and foremost, big grandiose promises. We do not know if we will be able. Nobody, the opposition, anybody in opposition will not be able to know if they can afford it. But what you have to realize is that people must be able to live, and you must be able to have the basic necessities of life: food, water, clothing, shelter, sanitation. And you have to be able to prioritize whatever you face there in providing the basic necessities for people to survive and live with dignity at the most basic level. So whilst you say I am going to build these grand buildings, you need to prioritize. When you go in there, you will have a certain amount of money. When you have a certain amount of money, you as a government will have to say, what are the priorities? I wanted to do 10 things, but I am now able, what I am facing, to do 5. And but those 5 must always be basic necessities of life.
I know you also talk about transparency. So assuming that you take and I know on this morning show, we have always been big on transparency in governance. And to the point that my personal opinion is that cabinet minutes should be uploaded online after any cabinet meeting, except, you can redact whatever needs to be redacted in terms of maybe sometimes financial information, contractual things that need to be kept under wraps, so national security issues. But I certainly believe that cabinet minutes and what takes place in cabinet should be for the public to see, because you're doing the people's business. How transparent would Patriotic Front would be if you were to win the general election?
Very.
Give us an example. What you mean by that?
People need to know in terms of what's going on with governance. I agree with the cabinet notes. Why not? Do things in public. Why not? I understand issues of national security, but at the same time, people need to know how you're governing and what is going on. Why not? Unless you have anything to hide. We will not have anything to hide. The resources of this country does not belong to the Patriotic Front or Mickela Panday.
Campaign finance reform. I know something that crops up every election. It hasn't really been featuring much in this elections, quite frankly. And of course, money spending. Well, maybe not from the Patriotic Front, but certainly from the UNC and the PNM, money is spending. What is your position on campaign finance reform?
I think they're shameless to even speak about it, and they don't. What ridiculous! This is the one thing that makes me so speechless. They are breaching the representation of the acts of the people's acts so blatantly. Where you're supposed to spend $50,000. You see the trucks, the carnival. I thought carnival was still continuing. Moko Jumbi, Tassa, dancing, whining. If they took that money and put it into buying some hampers for some people, buying some wheelchairs for the disabled, it will go very far, because hundreds of millions are being spent with no accountability. And what happens is you got to pay back when it's done. So we all of a sudden we say, well, how come that man's son become the chairman, boy? You know exactly how he become the chairman. Well, how come that fella doing that, boy? He couldn't even read too good. Wait, and he's running such a big. He's the chairman of a board, because it's payback time. Political patronage. I mean, that's what the UNC and PNM should cleanse itself of.
I don't know that will ever change.
It will change. It will change. It will change, because meritocracy is also very important to the patriotic front. And like I say, people feel that things that I say is not possible, but it depends if you have the political will to do it, and change can come.
Let's zero in a bit on your particular seat, Kouva North, that of course was represented for a number of years by your father, Michaela Panday. You are now the candidate in Kouva North, and the UNC changed the candidates and put Ms. Jolene John, who is a deputy political leader and a somewhat of one of their heavyweights, in that seat. How is that campaign going so far?
That campaign is going very good. I would have probably, visited so many different areas in Kouva North. Miss Jolene John is campaigning at this moment in La Hoqueta Talparo. So she doesn't have very much of a presence in Kouva North. They consider it a safe seat. Safe against the PNM, obviously. People believe, they love their party. They don't necessarily feel the same way about the leader and its leadership. They believe that the party it needs change, etc. But they are very fed up by the misrepresentation for 10 years. You hear this continuously. But what has really gotten me about Kouva North is how forgotten it is. I spent a lot of my childhood there, because the Rienzi complex, where Dad was a trade union leader. It's based in Kouva, and he was always in Orange Valley with the fishermen and this, that, and so people love that down there. But independently of that, it is so neglected, dilapidated. I have walked from Coco to places in Point Fortin, Labrie, and I thought that those constituencies were forgotten, neglected to the highest level. But Kouva is in a terrible state. I mean, people talk about bad roads, but they are impassable roads. People in the Orange Valley area have not had water for over a year. They have not had representation from Ravi Rati Ram. These people treat them with such disgust. It happens in the PNM so-called safe seats as well. They forget these people as if they don't exist. I feel terrible to say. It feels almost as if people had taken Kouva North out of Trinidad and Tobago. It may not be missed. Nothing is happening there. No development. I was in the Orange Valley Fish Market about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I wanted to go and see what it feels like at that time instead of going during the day. And I went down there, and the conditions in which these fishermen are working in, I mean, it is horrific. The roads, the lights, the jetties. There is no security post. We know that fishermen have been killed in that area before from pirates. I mean, total and absolute neglect. All I can do, my friend, is offer a change. People will have to make their decisions. I can't lie to them. I can't sell them pie in the sky, and I'm a straight shooter. So what you see is what you get.
But there are a lot of non-aligned voters. I mean, obviously, to win a seat, you need probably voters from the established parties, the two behemoths in the space. But there are a lot of non-aligned voters that are a little jaded and cynical about the politics more than the loyalists to the respective parties. And those are the people that you need to motivate.
Yes.
For the patriotic front space.
Yes.
What are you doing to motivate them? Because I can give you an example. I live in Arima and I have no idea who's the Arima candidate. I think I had to search actively to find out who the patriotic front candidate was for Arima. And I mean, I didn't know them offhand, but what I'm saying, I had to actively search for it. So what are you doing and what is your messaging to inspire that, which is pretty large, that they should vote for the Patriotic Front?
You're breaking up, my dear. I heard you were in Arima.
Yeah, I'm saying, what are you doing to motivate and inspire that non-aligned group to vote for the Patriotic Front?
First of all, we're going to them and telling them the truth. And we're saying to them what it is that we want, what our vision is for this country. And a lot of that non-aligned people are also young people that want change for this country. People want honesty, integrity, transparency. They want opportunity. They want to know jobs is a huge issue. What is going to happen to Trinidad? Crime is a good issue. How are you going to make us feel safe again? The way that you talk to the non-aligned people or the undecided people is tell them, what are you going to do? How are you going to be different? Is it going to be this same old? In terms of the candidate, her name is Jemima Lazama. She is from that era. She may not be a known person. And like I say to you, we social media, we're pushing it as much as we possibly can. But you guys will know also, when the money from the unregulated campaign finance starts flowing, it's very easy for newer parties to get drowned off unless we go and pull our pants down on Frederick Street.
I want to drill down a little bit. Sorry, Wendell. I want to drill down a little bit, Miss Panday, with regard to what is your message of inspiration? Because a lot of what you're saying there is what politicians say in a kind of glib way. And I'm not saying that you are being untruthful or glib, but I'm saying for a lot of people listening, they are like, okay, it's just another voice in the noise. What separates you? What is the issue? Are you hopeful for the future of Trinidad and Tobago? Why are you hopeful? And why should we lay our hopes when sometimes some people are disheartened in the patriotic front? Persuade us. Persuade me.
Keep breaking up and I keep hearing parts of what you're saying. People are not happy, sorry?
Yeah, I'm saying the issue of inspiration and hope. A lot of what you said is a kind of a lot of what politicians will say.
Yes, it is.
I'm not saying that you're being untruthful in where you stand, but what I'm saying is that if you need to inspire the non-aligned or inspire people to vote for you, your message has to come from a place that inspires hope in Trinidad and Tobago's future and takes it on a level that persuades those voters who are cynical about politicians.
So first of all, let me tell you, it may sound like what they're saying, but they have said it before, they have come before, and they don't do anything when they get there. For the Patriotic Front is a party that is going to bring the change that comes to Trinidad. And whilst I say that to you, I mean what we are going to prioritize. What can I speak about besides we are going to be accountable, we're going to be transparent, we're going to get rid of the corruption? They all have said that. Of course, they all have said that. But when they have gotten there, have they done it? They both have been there. What have they done when they've gone there? Are people better off today than they are tomorrow? What more can you say? You say, I will provide the solutions to improve your life. You want change and you want 5 years of different governance. If you look at how old you are today and how old you will be in 5 years' time, if you feel that and you want change for yourself, change for the younger people of this country, for your children and for your grandchildren, are you fed up with the same old rhetoric? Of course, you have to give another party a chance. And if it is that you're not bothered, well, then those are the consequences that they will have to bear. But we intend to bring change to this country. Trinidad and Tobago has potential. We know that it has potential. We know that corruption and mismanagement has us in the position that it is. We know that corruption and bribery has gone all the way down to the man guarding the security guard outside. Let's say, for example, a passport office. Trinidad is not functioning to its highest potential because politicians don't put the country before themselves. And that is what we intend to do. We intend to serve the people. And they have said that to you. Well, when you hear us say it, look in and say, have these people done what they said they were going to do for you? 10 years. 10 years the PNM has been in government. I don't need to tell people what the PNM has done wrong because they know. Ask yourself what they have done. The UNC came in under their People's Partnership and they had a constitutional majority of 29 seats. They could have changed things without the PNM even turning up with their 12 seats. And they did nothing. We have a group of young, bright people who are willing to put the country before self. People who have not been tainted and tarnished by the politics that we have seen thus far. We are interested in country. We are patriots standing up at the front defending Trinidad and Tobago. We are fighting seats in Tobago. We are a national party. We're not running away from anything. We're going to face all of our problems head on. We are going to be open. We are going to be transparent. We are going to make ourselves accountable to you. That's all that we can do. And if you look at that, not one of these parties are doing it. Every single day, the PNM is out a bushfire somewhere because of some candidate. The next thing that I tell you that we are going to do is this. Representation, member of parliament. I am your representative. We are going to make sure, and I personally will hold MPs accountable because nobody holds them accountable for representing the people. We will definitely look at the issue of recall because, and I know it's not a simple thing that we will need consultation from the different stakeholders, but members of parliament the day after they win the election disappear into a puff of air. They do not go back into their constituencies. That is something that we are going to make sure is mandated, because if Mr. Manning was a prime minister, and if Mr. Panday was a prime minister, and Mr. Manning as much as he can, and Mr. Panday, when they were in the country, they would go up to their constituency once a week. I believe Mr. Panday was Wednesday, Mr. Manning, when he was prime minister, was Thursday. Why can't other representatives do that?
Yeah. You know, the issue of, will you be willing to take a couple of calls, or you're not prepared to take calls?
I'm prepared to do anything once I can hear you. I have to just make sure that you know today's special voters and it's starting. So I have to run a couple of things this morning, make sure that everything is in place. We have to go to the EBC office.
All right, but we just open up the lines for like 3 minutes.
I don't mind coming back, but we have to be there for 9 o'clock. Special voting takes place today.
But I'll just open up the line for like 3 minutes and see.
I have to be there for 9, so I can take. I have to be there for 9, and you know that I live in South and what the traffic is like. I'm happy to take one.
Okay, so 281-1315, 281-1315. You can call us. While we're waiting for any calls to come in, 281-1315. The issue I wanted to raise the issue. I think you have something called Operation Safe Zones. I wasn't sure what that was about. I don't know if you can explain it quickly.
You're not listening to my meetings. This
Yeah.
is why you're not hearing what's going on. This is
This is your platform because not everybody at the meeting, eh?
Of course, so whoever doesn't listen to my meeting, but we will be advertising our meeting. So let me use this platform to advertise that as well. We will be having a meeting in Port of Spain on Tuesday. Please look out for us on our Facebook to see more about that. Yes, Operation Safe Zone. Basically, that's a commitment to reclaim our streets. We are saying it's not just about police presence. It's about our crime plan, which is based on prevention, detection, prosecution, rehabilitation. So we are saying, yes, we want to partner with the police. Community police is very important. People right now do not trust police in Trinidad and Tobago, and that is something that we need to address. But we also intend to work with social workers and community leaders, because you need to dismantle crime at its roots. And we haven't been doing that. So what we have here instead from the other partners is we're going to put more police cars, buy more police cars, while the policemen don't have the resources that they need to actually address the issue of crime. That's what we want to do, and we want to find a way to bridge the divide between the police and the people so that there's a level of trust. You would have known in the UK at one stage, no one hated the police more than the citizens, and they used to call them pigs. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible relationship, and one of the ways that they try to address crime is try to change the relationship between the police and its citizens, and those are things that we're going to be looking at.
Yeah. So, Charles, do we have anybody online?
Actually, no, we don't.
Okay. Yeah, because I know Panday has limited time.
Thank you so much. I'll be back.
1315.
Yeah.
Well, we will definitely have her back, Richard.
Yeah. Ms. Panday, thanks so much for joining us. Of course, on the breakfast show on New Era TT Radio. We appreciate you taking the time speaking to our listeners and viewers and getting a sense of the patriotic front. I don't know if you have any closing remarks.
Yeah, first of all, I really wanted to say thank you for having me, and hopefully, I don't know, do you only do virtual? Maybe we could see each other one time, because I remember when you were at the other station, we were able to meet with each other.
And we have a picture with you in the breakfast in the tea room.
We had a nice time. Anyway, in the interest of time, my message is to the people of Trinidad and Tobago to believe, to give the patriotic front a chance, to believe just one more time, and know that you've been disappointed, and know that you feel forgotten. But the way that we put it is the shift has begun. And together with the people, we can build Trinidad and Tobago. When we close our eyes and we envision what we want it to be, a safe place with opportunity for all, where people can live in dignity. This is not the time to give up. This is the time for us to stand together, forget the racial politics. I speak to even those voters who feel that they don't want to change their vote. They tend to be a little bit older. Give the young people of this nation a chance to thrive. Give the young people of this nation the opportunity that they deserve. Come April 28th, vote for the heart, vote for the patriotic front. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Panday, and appreciate you taking the time to speak with us this morning.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right. Of course, that was Mickela Panday, the leader of the Patriotic Front and the candidate for Kouva North. Did she say that Jillian John is not even campaigning in the area? that she's campaigning in La Joqueta Talparo.
Are you asking a rhetorical question, or are you?
Well, I'm asking you if I heard correct.
Serious question.
Did I hear that correct? Did I hear correct?
But there is something called YouTube, and you can go back and watch the program and assuage your concerns about that. Of course, this is where we wrap it up on the breakfast show this morning on New Era TT Radio. Of course, we spoke with Mickela Panday, and of course, interesting conversation. I mean, in terms of her position, obviously it needs to be a longer discussion, maybe, because there's so many things that we didn't cover with regard to. But we got a sense of her, whether you feel enthused to vote for her, or whether you were already voting for another party, or whether you just like, well, I'm hearing them all, and I will make my mind up on the morning of the 28th. You know, there's some people like that will make their mind up on the point that they're in the ballot box. Any, meany, you know, but we'll see how it all plays out. But that was Mickela Panday, and we thank you for joining us on the breakfast show. Of course, we're going to try to have more of the political leaders this week and next week, and we're talking all of them, from Stuart Young to Kamala Bissessa. We're going to try. Yeah. And Kezel Jackson and Gary Griffith. I'm going to try and reach out to Gary to see if he'll come during this week, maybe Wednesday.
Yes.
And see if he'll speak with us.
All right.
Considering the NT and where the NT is, where their campaigning is at this point. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do, and remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health.
All right, folks. One life, live it.
Thank you very much, guys, for being here this morning. And this was actually a beautiful session there with Miss Michaela Panday, and of course the breakfast team there. Remember, you get up early with them tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. Right? Our news is running out.